Okay, welcome back. This is another Heel Talk moment. And with this one, it is a part two of We Wear the Mask. And the last time I did that segment, I did it with the Mr. Easy Equity. And we really focused on that professional mask that we wear. And there was tons of gems in that one. And I felt like we didn't hit that segment enough on the personal side of the mask we wear. So today I have no fluff. I want to get straight into it. There's no long intro. There is We Wear the Mask part two, and this is a personal reflection because we are all talking about that personal mask. So I have three amazing guests today in the building. I have Ruth, Tea Time with Rue. I have Mr. Easy Equity. And yeah, check out his book, Easy Equity. You got to get updated on that one. And of course, I have Tynetta Selves or Tynetta Talks, whichever way you want to put it, but Tynetta Talks. So, y'all come into the room. You know the topic. We prepped right before we recorded. I threw some questions in the chat. And, I just want to start with the first one here. And that question is when you think about the word mask, right? What's the first memory feeling that comes up for you personally?
Pretending like I wasn't who I wanted to be. That's what it was for me. Um, During childhood, or I would say early on in life, like I realized who I really was. And when I realized who I really was, I really couldn't say who I was. So I just had to wear this mask for a very, very long time. And it didn't feel comfortable for me. I was just going with the flow, going with what society said it was, what my family thought it was, or how my family thought I should be, and how I was supposed to handle myself. So yeah, it started at a young age for me.
For me, I would say wearing a mask is pretending everything is okay when it's not. So smiling when really things aren't worth smiling. I mean, of course, I'm grateful to be alive, but smiling when things may not be the greatest at that time in your life, and not asking for help when you really need help. That was a mask that I would put on. I would act like, oh, I got it, I got it. I don't need no help. But really, I was like deep down. And so I like, oh my God, can you please help me? But I was like, I don't want to tell them I need help. I'm gonna just act like I got it because I think if I ask for help, they won't think I don't understand. So now that's what it, I don't know if it was a taught behavior, but I just thought that I should just act like I can handle something when really I needed someone else to help me out.
Like when I think about that question, it a lot of stuff comes up, but I think it really makes me think about like when you start wearing a mask, you stop becoming the main character in your story. Like you start becoming an extra because you should be the main character in your story, but when you put on the mask, like you're no longer living a life, you're participating in it. You're extra, you're a side character and like it's just not healthy. I think my youngest memory, I believe I was in elementary school and I went to University Park and there's majority white kids there, and I think that's when I first think I put on the mask because I realized being black wasn't, I don't want to say appreciated, but it wasn't the norm. So like I wanted friends and I wanted all these things too. And I was like, oh, I can't be me and talk the way I talk and get friends and them to appreciate me for who I am.
I love that, y'all. And as y'all were answering, I obviously reflected on the question myself. And as much as I was personally reflecting on me, I was thinking of just like my first impression of someone in my household wearing a mask. And it landed on my sister. And when I say my sister, my oldest sister, in the 80s, Aquanet was huge. If you didn't have like 20 cans of Aquanet in a Hispanic household, something was wrong. And my sister had the big hair, right? And that was not the problem. My sister actually, when she did the big hair, it rocked. But when I relate the mask piece, I remember her putting on her makeup, and I remember asking her, this was like I was like 9 around there, saying like, "Why you putting that on? You're like already beautiful. Like, you don't need all that, right?" And obviously, being young, not understanding the woman side of things and all that stuff, I looked at it at that moment like, man, you put on a mask. Right, just kind of like that mask my sister wanted to put on, and in my childhood memory and reflection, that judgment or that assumption I was making on her mask was not about like something she couldn't get through. I felt like she was putting it on because she felt like her regular face wasn't enough. Any thoughts on that, just in general,
No, I
not
do.
specifically the story? Go for it. Come on.
Yes, because in some sense it's like a multifold answer to that. Because for some women that is the case. They don't think they are beautiful and they actually put on a physical mask, aka makeup, because someone told them that you should enhance your qualities. And if you enhance them, that you will seem more attractive to others. And while some other women, they put makeup on because it's kind of showing their artistic side, because they just actually enjoy doing that because they feel like they're artistic. So I've met both spectrums of women where I would tell them, I see you for who you are. And they feel like they weren't good enough. If they did not wear makeup, they actually would feel terrible. And so, and some people would see my, oh my God, Sanetta, you never wear makeup. I said, first of all, I don't practice it because I feel like if I put on my face, I personally look like a clown because I don't, I haven't practiced putting it on enough to do all those things. I don't want it on myself. That's just my personal preference. But the makeup it's been going on for hundreds and hundreds of years, men and women. But that's a lot of things dealing with internal conflicts. And I don't know what your sister felt at that moment, if she was a teenager or not, it could have been what her friends were doing. But it does turn into I can't let go of it because without it, it's not going to enhance who I am. I don't know, Ruth, what you think? What y'all think? See,
I don't know because I never wore makeup.
there you go. I just put on some lip gloss. Keep moving.
Yeah, I just had like Vaseline
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Carmex. I don't know. I mean, I've dealt with people like my sister wears makeup and like sometimes she envies me because she's like, you've never had to wear makeup. Like, because I feel like my skin is beautiful the way it is. I haven't, and don't get me wrong, like I haven't always thought that I was beautiful, but my
Mhm.
skin be glowing. I'll be like, yeah, this is all natural skin right here. I wash
Yeah.
upwards. So that's how I do it. Wash upwards. But I know some people that wear makeup, and I've seen them like wear makeup, and when they don't have the makeup on, it's like it's night and day. They are totally two different people, and I'm
Mhm.
like, ah, like you don't like yourself without your makeup on. Like you have to really doll yourself up, and it takes too long. It just takes too long to do all that. And I'm glad I'm not in, I'm not I'm, I was never in that category. So, but I get it. A lot of people do wear makeup, and it's just to hide maybe the internal them because they're not happy with the way that they actually look, and they may have blemishes and dark spots and different things like that. So they want to cover it up, but you're covering up the beauty that's within you. But some people are just not secure enough to be able to just wear their makeup, not wear their makeup outside of the house and just be who they are.
Mhm.
And you know what, that story I shared. Thank you, Ruth and
Oh, Michael's
Talnetta.
about
That's
to talk.
it was a one-sided story perception, right? Because it was just from my lens and a very young lens, and obviously being a male as well. But like if I would looked right next to my sister, it was probably like three of her homies with the Aquanet, same makeup, right? So there was a trend in that space. So now we're moving from that. I'm just kind of speaking of the moment that it hit me, and there was others, but that one really hit me where I was like, man, how big sis wearing a mask, like, and it felt that way. Come on, Mr. Easy Equity. You want to say something? I can see it.
Yeah, I like when you're talking about and Tynetta, it's Tynetta, right? Caught myself. You were speaking a little bit about it. It is a lot of time beauty in this society is not with the beholder. It's white men that get to define what beauty is. And so that's what a lot of people are in a sense trying to live up to. And so in a sense, like I'm also thinking like is it just the person putting on the mask, or is it also like white supremacy telling you to put on the mask because this is what beauty is, this is what femininity is, this is what sexy is? And then, in order to be accepted, either you could put on this makeup or you don't put on this makeup. But when you're not wearing this makeup, quote unquote, society says you're not as beautiful. Or in the workplace, you're not as beautiful, and all these things because skinny used to be the thing 10 or 15 years ago. And if you weren't like 6'1", 100 pounds soaking wet, then you weren't beautiful. And so a lot of people are trying to have that certain body type, flat button and everything, and that was considered beautiful. I don't think people of color never agree with that. But like now, like sicker, full, like real women is in, and so I think that's the way how I think people of color, black and brown people, have shed um, mass stereotypes that white men have put on us in order to like show up in a different way. And now when we did it, now it's trending. Now everybody's trying to wear our masks that we had to shed, or like trying, like in a sense, stealing, so to speak. So now it's in style, like we're in style again.
And I'll say one more thing in regards to that. That's why I teach my 8-year-old niece that she's beautiful. When she was younger, I would always put Vaseline on her face, and I would tell her, "Know that you're beautiful, you're loved just the way you are." And I feel like that's what this generation needs to be able to realize it's not what society is showing you. It's not what pictures on Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, whatever it is showing you what this looks like. You have to be able to know that you are beautiful. You don't need makeup. And I did it with my oldest niece as well, but more so with my youngest one because she gravitates to me. So I wanted her to realize no matter what you look like, you're still beautiful. And I did it every single day before she left to go to school to let her know that I loved her and that she was beautiful.
You got to keep doing that. 'Cause I'm gonna tell you right now, for my children, I tell them they're beautiful. I think I was telling them baby's beautiful in my womb, but my 6-year-old and my 11-year-old specifically, if I say, "Oh, girl, you are so cute," here come my 6-year-old. I know. Stop. Pause. So my husband had to tell her to start saying thank you. Right, right. So, and then my 11-year-old, she used to, but now for my little one, I was like, you're beautiful, right? She's like, I already know that, mommy. I'm like, so like this imprinting that on them, and I got that from some of my aunts. They will always call us beautiful. When we walked in her house, she said, "Welcome to the beautiful queen house." She was talking about herself and just thinking like we not gotta take off that European frame of thought, like you said, being slim all the time. And yes, it deals with some health, but if your body is naturally curvaceous, just embrace that. Just embrace that.
I love that. Big ups to my sister as well. Thank y'all for navigating that thought and that memory, right? Because it just, as y'all were talking, it just came to me in that moment. So, thinking of like just my young childhood memory in that space, right? Kind of leads me to the next thought question for y'all. Kind of reflecting on your own childhood or maybe a younger moment where you kind of identified that you were hiding a part of yourself or something that you were not bringing outward, that maybe you brought outward in the home, right? Whatever it may be, does that resonate with any of y'all?
I would have to say growing up in school, like I wasn't the smartest kid. So the way that I overcame that was I would clown, I would show out in school, and I was wearing that mask because I didn't want anybody to know that I was dyslexic and that my mom was a teacher and that my sister was smarter than me. And it always made me feel away. So I had to overcome that with other gifts and talents that weren't that great. But yeah, just being the class clown and getting in trouble a lot, getting my mom called, my dad called, but it was just a mask because again, I just didn't want anybody to know, and I had to navigate that my entire like from elementary, middle school, and a little bit of high school. But yeah, it was hard. It was hard for me, and it was hard for me to accept that I wasn't smarter than a lot of people. It wasn't that I just maybe my brain functions a little differently. It's slower than most people. Like when they would ask if somebody wanted to read, I didn't want to read. If they asked like to do a math problem, I didn't want to do the math problem because I knew it took me longer to do stuff. And I would look at the other kids in the classroom and it would just make me feel like really, really small. So I would just clown.
Rules that hits home because I'm pretty sure I'm dyslexic too, and I was definitely the slow reader. Words, my my mind moves faster than my mouth half of the time. So I see a T, it could be that the there, and I'm just going to say one of those without necessarily reading the word. And I kind of was a class clown too, not because I wanted to take the attention off of me, but when I think about and realize the things that I was kind of joking about and the connections that I made, it was brilliance. Like I just saw connections that other people didn't see, and they were like, "Mike, how'd you come up with that joke or this, and this?" And I didn't know like that was a superpower to see patterns and to read people, um, and things like that. And I thought just because I couldn't read as well as others, or I was on my reading journey, I thought like I must not be good at math, which I was actually amazing at math. A lot of times, I remember at Mullen, this teacher, there was this problem, and she's like, "No, we're just gonna skip it because I don't understand it." And, da, da, da. And I was like, "Oh, the answer is set x equals 8," and they were just like, "What?" And I remember going up to the board and teaching the teacher um in high school how to do this, and I'm like, you gotta think about the circumference and da 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 da, and then you do pi, and I'm doing all this stuff and I'm teaching people, and I was like, oh snap, Mike, you have something that other people don't have, but sometimes you spent so much time worrying what you don't what you don't have. And so it's just like you spent so much time hiding, you you didn't realize or celebrate all your gifts, and so you're so focused on putting on the mask, you forgot who you are or what you could be.
Oh, y'all have some good masks. The first thing I think about with me wearing masks at a really young age is it would deal with our finances because we lived in a really, really poor condition. A lot of people did, and maybe I didn't realize it, and because I'm thinking everybody richer than me and really be like on the same plane, not really actually knowing that. So as I'm adult now, talking to people, but I really remember in high school and a little bit of middle school, I would try. So we only had to go to the thrift store, which a lot of people did go to, which I didn't know, because a lot of people was pretending. So to the thrift store or whatever, and I'll get clothes, and then I would just be faking like all this stuff is about me. Like, but as an adult, I realized that actually was a humbling moment. It taught me how to look for things that was financially fit for me at that moment. Like it taught me skills, which I didn't know that I was learning at that time. And then when I told you all earlier, when I was screaming for help internally, it would be the times when we really was suffering the most, like financially. It was one time when we moved, like my family moved like every 2 years. We would always move. I went to like 4 high schools. And then one of my high schools I went to, my mom and my sister and I, we was like, they had no furniture in the house. And I was like going to school. And then I would go to school, act like everything was okay. But I was like, man, I wish I could tell somebody like we really need a bed or something. We got one eventually. But like I would hide like all that anger and animosity towards her, even though it wasn't her fault completely. And then realizing like she was doing the best she could. And we got everything we got through blessings, through meeting other people and networking. And so just telling people like young people now, like if you think you suffering now, you looking upwards to all these people like the staff and teachers and mentors, like they never went through anything. Like we went through all that stuff plus some. And so being able to uncover my mask was like really to show people you can make it through to the other side and not have to hide it. Just ask for help and we can help you.
I love that, Tynetta, because I this last week or couple of weeks, I just been going through stuff, and Coach Adam, like, it's just been like an angel. He just like shows up at the right time. He's just like appear. I'm like, you didn't even know where I live, so how are you here, dude? But it's like working out with his son at the gym, just giving him a call or things like that, where I was able, not that I'm pretty good at not wearing the mask, but I knew I wasn't okay, and I was trying to push my way through it, and I just told him, and he says, "You know what, brother? That happened to me too, and it's all right." Da da da. I'm just like, like it's like sometimes you just need to exhale so you can really take off the mask because you might have washed your face, but there's still some white marks on you. You got some crust in your eyes. But like talking to somebody, having somebody close to you, that just gets you in different ways can really support with taking off the mask because like you said sometimes you just want to I want to tell somebody I ain't good right now um and like so shout out to Adam my girl Dom like they've been doing a lot of healing work with me. I don't think they know how much they help me, but it's just dope because they just been there. They ain't said nothing magical, but they just been there and they showed up for me.
We love you, Adam. And I was gonna say, when you take that mask off, you realize everybody else, not as an adult now, but you realize when you take it off, you realize a lot of people are going through or have went through the same exact thing, with the same intensity or way more, and you would never know because they're smiling. And then so as an adult, I'm open about like, you know what? Yeah, I remember moving a lot, and I would tell my students, I say, you can make it through if I can make it through. Like if you got you all this plush stuff at your house, I didn't have none of that, and you got all this support systems, you can really make it through this, feel more comfortable with opening up. And I know that's like right now, a lot of younger generation folks, even our people that's our peers and older, they're uncomfortable with sharing it. But if you share it, somebody is really out there waiting for you to share so they can help you.
Mm. Hey, I love all of that. Man, I love to all of y'all for just sharing. I know that was a personal question, so it went on a certain level there. But I know that this is a safe space for all of us to share. There's always decorum with this group, right? So that's what I love about when we come to a space to share. And I think what Mike shared, it's vice versa, Mike. Right? As much as I'm giving, you're giving as well, and you're not knowing. And that relation makes that feeling for me to be like, I can let that go. That's just gone now. But in saying that, love all your answers on that. And I want to kind of get to a space of like our kind of final reflection. We're at the end of our segment here. And when we're thinking of our own mask, the mask that we wear, maybe the mask that you've seen other folks wear in your life, and maybe the different series of masks that you put on. And I didn't share this, but really quick, the mask, just, to in the spirit of sharing, because y'all shared with me, I think my mask as a child was my brother had the most straightest damn hair. Like he had the feather back, with the split in the middle, and it bothered me that my hair was curly. I just couldn't. It bothered me to the point where my mom, because with curly hair, your hair gets dry, and when you're young and you're not taking care of it, it gets drier. So my mom did like hot oil treatments on my hair, like from till I was like 11, right? And it took me a minute. It actually took a minute, and I'll be sure for me to like curly hair. I just want to leave it there. I land my plane on that one. So, last question here, y'all. What's one part of your personal mask you're ready to soften release in this season of life? Y'all heard it. It's the last question in the chat. What you got?
Mm, that's a deep one right there. Uh, I would say for me, taking off the mask of hiding who I really am. I've hid for a very long time. Um, Me cutting my locks off has like literally changed my perspective, changed my life. Because when I was 18 years old, this same hairdo I tried to do back in the 80s, back in the 90s, and I didn't feel safe coming out. So it reminds me that I am safe of who I am in knowing that I no longer have to wear a mask. I'm coming into who Ruth is and knowing that I'm honest, I'm transparent, I'm holding myself accountable for everything that I do and say, and know that at the end of the day, that as much as I continue to pour out to others, I know for sure I'll get it back in return.
Yeah, that's fire, Ruth. And I remember seeing you. You're like, I'm about to cut it. I was just like, she ain't really gonna cut these locks. And then he was like, you came in here looking like a fire starter. I was just like, okay, Ruth. Yeah, I love it. You're a beautiful sister. I think for me, it's like what comes to mind is like we're groomed to problem solve instead of celebrate. And I think that's what I want to give up is like, yes, I'm good at problem solving, but I need to do better at celebrating like others, myself, in the little things. Like sometimes I get little wins and then I have a loss, and then I'm like my loss. I make my loss bigger than what it is, and so I'm like, no, I'm gonna start celebrating the little things, like if as if I won the championship. I'm gonna start making all my small things, all my small wins bigger, and start releasing quote unquote the loss and turn it into lessons. So like in a sense, like I'm always moving forward. But like in the past, I like when you have one of those losses, you put on that mask and it's, oh, what about me? It looks like this. It's when it rains, it pours, and then you start doing all this stuff where you're kind of just sitting in sadness and or resting in sadness. And I'm just going to start resting in liberation and celebratory acts. I'm just going to love me and love others unapologetically and just celebrate people and just hand out more flowers.
Y'all kind of took all my answers. So no, but I'm gonna just make it like a combination. So my mask, me lifting up my mask today is more dealing with my health and well-being because I realize when any type of mask is on me, even if it's like me hiding anything that is not worth hiding, it's kind of like a weight on me, and I feel like a heaviness. So taking off of my mask is more like you said, like a liberation. It feels good, like you can breathe, and it doesn't matter who sees you breathing as long as you know you're living in your best self. So for me, it's us taking off anything that's keeping me away from being who I really feel like I should celebrate, who I should be. So, and I was telling somebody else, like, celebrate everything about yourself, like being grateful and them small steps, because just like being heavy on yourself or being hard on yourself doesn't help anything or anybody. So just freeing yourself, and that's kind of like what it is. It's like a freeing method. Just taking that weight off and like leaving it off. Like just keep it moving and just leaving it off.
I love that, y'all. Just a quick one here. We have a couple more minutes. Just a quick one hitter advice for someone either releasing their mask, right, letting that bad boy go, or someone who's not accepting it, right? That they might have it on or they, might need it in a situation, right? Because, we didn't talk a lot about that need in the situation at times, right? And that can land in different spaces. So quick hitter, because we only got a couple minutes and I want to be sacred to y'all time. What is the one hitter that you have in terms of advice in either or direction about the mask?
I would say work on having the patience to let the mud settle so the water can be clear. Then take your next best step. And that's like a saying off of, I think the person's Lao, something, I'm going to mess up the name. But oftentimes we're trying to move too dang fast, the speed of light. And like you heard me say it, like that's the speed of self-destruction. So just like breathe and let the mud settle. The sediments are going to come to the ground, and then you'll have clarity. Then you can move.
Once you find the mask, you see the mask, you face the mask. Once you face the mask, you can take the mask off. Once you take that mask off, you'll be able to see things and hear things a whole lot clearer and know that it's just a temporary situation for the next future, that where you're going is not where you're staying, is where you're headed.
Y'all heavy. Ruth, Mike, after you do all those steps, your lens will be clearer. And that made me think about when you have a mask on, it's a filter over your eyes. And filters are needed for some moments where you need to filter out things that could cause harm. But for the most part, when you have that mask over your face, it's actually blocking the sunlight. It's blocking you from receiving whatever gifts that you actually should be getting, because it's a layer. When you take that layer off, now you're able to receive. And sometimes it's hurtful, because that mask has been on for so long. It's like a Band-Aid. If you leave a Band-Aid on for too long and then your skin can't breathe and you take it off, it kind of like sensitive. So being patient with yourself and letting that sensitivity and let your skin get just a little bit tougher, you realize the mask is not needed really in any situation. It's not needed. It actually helps you grow more, and now you can receive more oxygen in life and being able to receive others a little bit better.
And that's Heal Talk. We can end it there. Thank y'all for coming through, blessing us with the gems as usual. The Healing Squad, different members who come through with these different gifts, always come through with the gems. So thank y'all on a Saturday too. I appreciate y'all. That is true heart. And you know, part of this series, we're gonna have to do a part 3. We didn't even get through all the questions, but part of this series is to talk about this. The mask I've been talking about for the last 20 years in my career. And it is a conversation that I am gonna consistently bring up and tear apart, dissect, and help people heal through it. So thank y'all, Healing Squad, for coming through and blessing us with the gems. Thank you, audience, for coming through. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff so you can continue to get these goodies. And then, of course, all these individuals in this room have their own platforms. Check out their platforms as well. You know that's the business. And my last question for you is, who's helping you heal, y'all? Peace.